here. So thank you, Kombucha Clark, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's
no problem.
It's talk to you, Harry.
No problem. So let's do a back and forth sharing of where each other's at, and any information that we find is powerful and what we're experiencing in this moment in time, because I know there's a lot going on with you and me too a little bit. So yeah, open the floor. Well, what are you learning? What do you want to share with us?
What's coming to mind is detoxification. I've been heavily detoxing the last 5 years. Ever since I got into the raw foods, started with raw foods and fasting. Started with juice fasting and fruit fasting, and then water fasting, and then got into urine therapy, and the detoxification just doesn't. It's just been going on and on and on and on. And you know, done tons of enemas, tons of liver flushing. Had all sorts of smells, colors, parasites come out of me. And it's real. It's real. You know, a lot of people think that they can detoxify and, you know, detoxify 20, 30, 40 years of buildup in a few weeks or a month or two. But but it doesn't. From my experience, like I've been on this track for about 5 years now. I mean, I'm 31 now. I really got into health around 25, 26, and it's been like for like still getting it's like pizza and, you know, all the junk that I ate when I was a kid is still coming out, and not many people want to talk about this subject. So I think it is a good subject to talk about.
Definitely. I think what you said is really powerful to remind myself and to tell other people too that don't know it and they are aware of it. A reminder that actually this is endless. There's no limit to how dirty that we are due to environment and due to circumstances outside our control. And there's no limit to how high you can go. So one way of looking at it is one way you can look at it if you're the wrong type of personality. We don't want to encourage people. It's like, oh, it's so depressing. Oh, they're so depressing. We've got so much work to do. Oh, I can't be bothered to do detox. It's endless. That's one way of looking at it. I know some people do that in community. We don't want that. We want to be like where me and you are at. It's like, holy shit, yeah, it's endless, but it's kind of fun, right? It's kind of fun to learn this, do this shit.
Yeah. And yes, like I mean, I've gotten to the point. I mean, I grew up on 3 meals a day, snacking in between, all cooked food, meat, potatoes, cheese, bread, pasta, cereal, and then I got into raw foods. I've been getting lighter and lighter. Now I'm down to about 2 to 3 meals a week.
Wow. Wow. 2-3 meals a week. That means whole days in a week that are just nothing's going in, no food's going in for few days a week.
I'm very nourished. I drink a lot of teas, a lot of green juices, but just liquid, lots of liquids.
Yeah. And you feel fine on that stuff. It's not like do you feel deprived?
No,
do you feel...
not at all. Actually more, because I put lots of herbs in. You know, what it's come to is like the herbs nourish me more than the food. I feel more nourished. Like what I'm drinking here with all sorts of adaptogenic herbs, ashwagandha and astragalus, and I have just all sorts of just like cacao and maca, and you know, I mix up a lot of I have the sun tea going all the time, and I got the crock pot with the medicinal mushrooms going all the time.
When you say sun tea, what do you mean? Solar powered? Do you leave outside your teas for the daytime?
Well, yeah, I mean, I put them in the window. Like I mix a bunch of herbs. I'll put like 10 different adaptogenic herbs into a gallon of distilled water, and just leave it in the window for a couple days, like 2 days.
Wow, yeah, because the medicine goes through the sun goes through the window for sure. The medicine goes.
And then I strain out the plants, and then I just have just a straight tea, and then I'll take that and I'll ferment it with probiotics too, and it's like next level, way better than kombucha, any kombucha you can get.
Yeah. I want to emphasize to the audience as well, when you're doing the 5 years of detox, I mean, you are doing it, but the way I see you doing it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is like you're doing it you're doing the most powerful protocols on top of the fact you've been doing it 5 years. So you've been really, there's levels to this. There's levels of go slow, and I think it's fair to say that you've gone through the most you found through your own fortune or luck or divinity, whatever you want to call it, the most powerful stuff, and you're doing them now.
Absolutely, the most powerful that I've found. I don't know anybody who's doing most of the protocols that I'm doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, not even me. I'm not near your level in terms of what you're actually nailing on a daily basis. Crazy.
I mean, like, and I would say on the top is the urine enemas. I mean, out of everything.
Say that again. Which one was the top one? It came.
The urine enemas.
Urine enemas. Okay. Yeah, aged urine. You mean, right?
Aged urine enemas. There's like every time like aged urine goes in and just like black stuff comes out. You know what I mean? Just like smelly, stinky. Just you wouldn't believe what I've seen come out of me.
Yeah. How old? That's the question everyone asks. How old are you talking about this urine is that you're putting up the bum that's making so much come out?
What's that?
How old is the aged urine you're putting up the bum that's producing those fabulous results?
Just a few days.
Really?
Only because I'm keeping up with my. It's the oldest I have, and I don't let any of it go.
Huh.
Because I mean I'm drinking it all day long. I only let a drop go just for sanitary purposes.
Yeah.
I'm either looping it or saving it. And so at the end of the day, I'm saving it. I'm looping it. When I'm at work and stuff, I'm looping it. And then at the end of the day, I'm saving it. I'm drinking it age too. So I'm just going through it in the order that it came out, basically.
Yeah, and I'm guessing as well, it's more powerful than most people's because you're so clean at this point. You're eating so little, and you're getting so many herbs and good stuff into you, some green juices. So your fresh urine is very high quality. If you're going to compare it with an average person,
high quality and very structured, very very structured. It
yes,
incredible.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's nourishing in itself. It's like I want to whoosh it around in my mouth because it tastes good. It tastes good. It feels good. I'm like every time it's like a miracle. It's like it's freaking holy water.
Yeah. Huh. I like it.
And even my after a few days it's like even more nourishing. It's like even I want to drink I'd rather drink the 3, 4, 5 day old than the fresh. Just because it tastes better, it makes me feel better. Like there's something. It's magical. It's truly magical.
That's why I feel about it. That's when people ask me why do you even drink it and how do you discuss the taste. I'm like, well, the benefits kick in straight away, and your consciousness, your breath slows down, your consciousness changes straight away. Why would I not? I've now made the neural association, which is correct, that every time I take it into my system, even if it does smell, I'm like, well, this is a good thing. This makes me happy, and it's actually correct way of looking at the world. Whereas people that are like, oh, aged urine stinks, that don't understand, are smelling it but not understanding the realities that actually this is really powerful medicine. So,
right.
Yeah.
So what's the latest? What's the latest with you? What's the most powerful stuff you're doing?
For me, I focused way more on physical health since we last spoke. This year I've made it my mission, less networking, more mission. But I'm being honest, I'm spending more time doing the basics, and just things that I fucked up with. For example, we're in the winter time now, and I've not been consistent with sun highest in the sky, being naked or being as close to naked as I can. So now, past 2 days, and now I've really started to focus on, hey, you know what? It might be really cold in the UK and it gets windy too, but what I'm doing is I've got a chance to sun gaze, by the way. So I'm Googling the sun highest in the sky. I'm being out 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after to maximize the medicine. And I'm trying to get as many clothes off as possible, even though it's really cold and suffering a little bit. But I know the cold's good for me too. So I'm doing a bit of cold therapy, sun gazing, and the midday sun. And I'll tell you what, Matthew, it's given me a shift on my version of a shift in consciousness. And I'm like, whoa, this is quite profound shift in consciousness of me I forgot about that because it's all right to be naked for me in the summer when it's hot. But in the winter time, that's where the money's at because that's the real test. Like, can I get the sunlight medicine in when I need it the most? And I recognize I'm living in the wrong place, by the way. And I recognize that I'm not going to be here for very long. But while I'm here, I better get the midday sun, freezing ass cold, and get that skin exposed to sun.
Oh yeah, I've been doing the same thing. I get it. I mean, I was out there earlier today. I'm blessed where I moved recently. I can do it where I live, like right out. I can just go outside whenever the sun pops out behind the clouds, and then also at work, on my lunch break, there's actually a spot that I found that I'm able to go get full spectrum sunlight as well. So on my lunch break, instead of going and eating lunch, I'm just going and absorbing the sun for 30. I have just 30 minutes. Boom, 30
Nice.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish people had actual ideas of how magical the sun is in terms of the frequencies of light that are kicking off that we can't even see, that we don't even know about some of it. We know a lot about some, we don't even know half the shit that's going on there. It's
Right.
absolute
It's a joke.
magic.
People are like, no, people think it's just like vitamin D. You could just get it from a pill, a capsule.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't, if that's what you think, like, you don't even it's like, yeah, we can't even comprehend. Like, I don't, when I come back from my lunch, like, my coworkers are like, oh my God, you look so happy. Like, we're, they're like, oh my gosh, you're like floating, I'm like, and I'm just, I have a smile on my face, I don't have to tell them where I went, what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, just a great day, loving life. I love it here.
That's powerful. They can see it so obviously that they verbalize what they're seeing. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I just feel so euphoric, and it's like, sun heals all. Like, that's the message. Like, sun heals everything. It's the I mean, I can imagine like you could probably any disease. I mean, the answer is always right there, right? And there's always multiple solutions to any nature's always has multiple solutions. So if you don't like one solution, you can go to another. If you're not going to drink your own urine, you can take these herbs, or you can do this, or you can do that. But I believe, like, the sun, like, my current belief is that the sun, like, no matter what's going on, especially if you get grounded at the same time, if you can get grounded and get full spectrum sunlight every day, that'll probably take care of 99.9% of any disease.
Yeah, I love that what you said. As above, so below. I've been thinking of that. So we got the father sun at the top, and if you're grounding, you're getting the medicine from both angles. You know what I'm big on too, Matthew? Because I know people make excuses and say, look, I live in the UK, by the way, and obviously there's not a lot of sun gazing opportunities. Most of the time it's quite cloudy. And people go, oh, well, I don't want to be outside when it's cloudy because there's no medicine. First of all, there's less medicine, I agree, but there's still medicine, so that's no excuse. And in my mind, that means you've got to do more sun when there's less medicine out there because it's cloud cover. And another thing, number 3, people talk about sun gazing, and when there's no sun, it's clouds. You can look up to the sky in the cloud, and it's called cloud gazing, and it's fucking powerful, and nobody understands it. Looking up to the clouds is really powerful for your health. No one's on it. And I really want to charge this.
Yeah.
Cloud gazing is magical, bro. Really good.
And if you meditate on those clouds, you start to for me, it start to realize the magic of the world, the magic of nature and the world. And it's like, there's something super, I don't know, it just puts me in a place. I can't really explain it, but the clouds, looking at the clouds just puts me in some sort of what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It does, and like people say, sunrise, sunset, sun gazing is really beautiful. Like looking at sunrise, sunset. I think there's a part of me that thinks that's true, but also part of me thinks it's the medicine. So when you talk about cloud gazing and saying it makes you push in that meditative state, part of it is actually beautiful. Part of it is actually because if you look up, and your eyes are the most important photosensor of light, right? If you look up, you're receiving more nutrition from the sun, even under clouds, than if you were looking down, or even if you're looking level. So there's levels. So looking down is the worst level, though it's still good to be outside. Looking level is cool. If you look up under clouds, you're getting the most nutrition into your eyes. Therefore, it transforms your hormones. So now you're happy. As the light intensity changes too. You ever noticed when they say there's a break in the clouds and the sun, and the sun's been under clouds for a while, and there's a break, and our mood shifts straight away. That to me is the power of the sun. How does our mood? Everyone's in dualities. Everyone's mood shifts. It was under clouds, it breaks, and without trying, your mood just shifts like that. To me, that sums up the power of the sun.
Yeah, absolutely. I've experienced that so many times. Like, I'll be like frustrated. I'll be in a situation. I'll be frustrated, flustered at work or whatever. I'll be outside somewhere.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the clouds part. The sun comes and hits my third eye, and then everything slows down. my shoulders just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
calm, like, oh, everything's okay all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's crazy, and people in hot countries are just happier for that reason. The literally is there's less clouds and there's more sun. However, okay, so we live in the UK. Cloud gazing still does tremendous benefits. That's the biohack for me. You've not got much time. You're working somewhere. Go outside for 5 minutes and look up to the sun. Don't just sit neutral. Don't look down and read a book. Look up to the sun. Look up to the clouds and meditate. And like you said, or you can even do other things like transcendental meditation, or just let your mind wander. But just look up to the clouds and cloud gaze. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about something else.
Grounding.
What else? What else are you working on in time? Well, I really want to push aged urine. I really do. So we talked about aged urine enemas. Is there any? Do you put it on your skin? Do you put the aged urine?
I do. Yeah. And I've learned from experience. It can be a smell, so I typically do that privately at night before I go to bed.
Yeah, good time.
Once I know I'm not gonna be interacting with any other people.
Yeah.
That's when I'll put it on topically, and then I'll just I'll rub into the skin, let it soak in there overnight, and then in the morning I can rinse it off. So
yeah, and no sleep, no doubt. You probably won't be able to sleep very much because of it as well. Doing it at that time.
What's that?
You probably won't be able to sleep very much because of that, doing it. I tend to find, and people talk about if you do it, drink it, or take it just before bed, it lessens your sleep even more. So you'll struggle probably. Not that it's a bad thing. You just don't need less sleep. So.
I've been getting great sleep, especially since I've been sleeping on the earth. I got a tent set up. I run a 1-bedroom house here, and I got a tent set up that I sleep in. Big into grounding. And I sleep freaking great because the earth and the sun, and then the natural light too. So I'm sun gazing during the day, and then at night when I go and put my feet on the grass, and then all it is the moon and the stars.
Yeah.
The circadian rhythms, they kick in, and so the melatonin automatically goes up, and then I go lay on the earth. And basically, I have the tent. I don't have an air mattress in there or anything. I just have a blanket down, and I lay on that. And then so I'm fully grounded when I sleep too. And so my sleep has been absolutely fantastic. I wake up. I'll go. I try to get to bed on time. I try to get to bed at 9. Sometimes it's not till 10. But I'll if I'm in bed by 9, I'm up at like 3 in the morning, wide awake.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Another thing you touch base with too is like the nights you're seeing is like moonlight, and there's no unnatural frequencies of light like blue light or light bulbs and stuff that are going to affect your sleep. So you're getting that proper deep stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll go out there in the cold too. Everyone's like. People that know me, that know I sleep in a tent, they'll talk to me the next day. They'll be like, "Man, it was like 48 degrees last night. Were you sleeping in your tent?" I was like, "Of course I was sleeping in my tent. I had all 4 windows rolled down. I was getting the fresh air. I was getting the grounding. And
how are you finding it? So you're doing it in the cold. You're doing the cold. Do you shiver? Is it that cold? You shivering and stuff? Or?
Well, I mean, I have blankets out there. I got a sleeping bag and blankets, so I just pile them. I just pile on what I need. But I mean, I get I mean, it gets cold. It gets cold out there. Sometimes it's under 50 degrees.
Wow.
But I mean, it's totally worth it. I sleep so much better out there, and the cold gives you energy too.
Yeah.
I gotta plug in my phone here.
Sure, bro. Yeah.
Sober. Set this here.
Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say one thing on the cold aspect that you're doing, which is very hardcore. I watched a David Wolf interview with Luke Story on podcast. I don't listen to many David Wolfs. And what David Wolf does, maybe you've seen it and maybe you're aware, when he goes to sleep every night, he does it naked, freezing cold. He opens the window and apparently it's really cold where he lives. And he said that he needs much less sleep. And people were like, "You crazy, David?" He's like, "No, it's because it's making me healthy." He's like, he literally freezes at night time every night. He loves it. And the way he was saying it was like, "This is a good thing. This is great. Everyone should be freezing cold at night." Like.
David Wolf, I love David Wolf. I was actually I volunteered at his Longevity Now conference in Los Angeles a couple years ago, and I've been following him for years on YouTube. I'm actually part of his inner circle right now.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's been a big influence on me. For sure.
Yeah, he doesn't talk. People don't know this about him. Like, you need to watch his podcast because people think he's just a goofy guy that posts these stupid Facebook memes. These not stupid, but these mainstream. He's more. There's more to him than what a lot of people think of him. There's very deep. So.
He doesn't. He can't even. They booted him. They took his whole YouTube account because he talked about CBD. That's why I jumped on his inner circle and the stuff he talks about on his inner circle. Like he cannot talk about on YouTube. Like he speaks the truth. This guy, well, he speaks gold. Like, and it's the truth. Like he knows every holistic healing modality. This guy's on it. Yeah. So many levels. This guy.
Do you know what he said on the videos? He said that after he said about the sleeping. So what happens is he'll be sleeping freezing cold. He'll wake up 3 o'clock in the morning because he doesn't need that much sleep because he's so cold. And he'll go to the bathroom and he'll watch loads of YouTube videos and learn. I found that really interesting. So that's where a lot of his open-mindedness and knowledge comes from. He's a guy that just reads and learns from people in the quiet and then talks about it and experiments like crazy.
That's how I do it too. I'm like, whenever I'm in the kitchen, whenever I'm driving, I'm always have something on YouTube, listening to all sorts of podcasts, all about health and creating your own reality, like all sorts of stuff. It's like never entertainment. I don't have time for entertainment, for movies, if it's not empowering me, then it's not worth my time.
Yeah, I love that. And that's been a natural progression for you. I'm sure it was very different for you, but now it's just your brain is so switched on that it bores you and you kind of like abhor the fact that you'll be wasting time on something that's entertaining when you could be enjoying yourself and getting those happy hormones and learning and progressing in your expectation.
Right. I can't even do a 20-minute TV show. Like, come on, just watch Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is so amazing, right. Whatever. It's like, I don't have time for fucking Game of Thrones. I'm sorry. I don't care how many people have told me how amazing Game of Thrones is. I do. It's fiction. It's fantasy. I'm here to live my fantasy.
Yeah, you are. You're living same with me. We're living the dream life that we envisioned and we hoped for, that other people would too. That other people be inspired by us. And right. Keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. One thing I say for people as a tip, get more sunlight, to be outside, even a cloud cover, is to go and maybe eat outside if you've got the free time, take lunch breaks, go and read books. One thing I've been procrastinating on, which I did last year a lot of, was podcasts. I'm going to put them on my MP3 player and go. I used to do that all the summer. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to put them on, do that again, put them on podcasts, go outside, listen to podcasts. I read books outside. I don't read books ever inside. I go outside to do that. Unless it's raining really bad, I'll always read a book outside. These little things people can do.
Do you wear headphones?
Yeah, well, I do, and it's actually quite good because then I can sun gaze and listen to MP3 podcasts. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Do you have headphones that are mitigate EMF? Like tube?
No. Talk to us about that.
Okay, so you don't want to fry your brain. So you're getting hit hard with EMF if you're just using regular headphones. Shit. This one is these are actually have an air tube.
Oh, air tube ones are protecting you from EMFs. I didn't know that. Okay.
Right, they protect you from EMF. This one even has a mic, so if I want a private conversation, first off, I'm sure you never put a cell phone to your head, right?
No, with speakerphone all the time. Speakerphone.
Yeah, speakerphone. That's what I use, and this is a backup if I need a private call. I got these around, so I can put these on, and there's a mic. And it gets, directly connected into the phone, but it goes through an air tube into my ears. So I'm at least mitigating what I can.
With you, I tried them before though, I think, and I'm not trying to be pernickety, but they don't stay in my ears very well. I mean, sure that you have that problem maybe too. They're kind of like, unlike the wrap around headphones, they don't stay, although they're pretty healthy. They just don't stick in my ears. So maybe even though I'm complaining about it, I should buy them and work around that issue instead of like going keep the other headphones. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the brain. You don't what's going on with cell phones and the radiation going to the brain. Like they've taken, like, just a 30-minute call is insane. What happens.
Yeah, I mean, I remember at times when I was unaware of this stuff, using my cell phone for a long time, long conversations with people, and I'd forget stuff. So my friends would be like, and things that I'd normally remember, I just froze, and while this was next to my head, and thinking, why am I forgetting shit that I normally remember? Now looking back, I know because it's frying my brain, so it's forgetting my memories going in the moment.
But yeah, eating outside, that's what I've been doing that for years too. I almost
Mm,
never will eat inside. My
mm,
theory behind this is all food
mm,
is just energy that comes from the sun, right? So the fruits, the vegetables, all of it just comes. It's just concentrated sunlight. It's a denser form of sunlight.
yeah.
So if I want that, and it comes from the earth, so it's the vibration of the earth and the sun. If I want that, why would I eat that indoors? So I
Yeah.
always take my food out to the grass, and then I do my very best to follow the Ayurvedic principle that
Mm,
our digestive fire is highest when the sun is at its highest.
love
So
that.
we're supposed to be eating when the sun is at its highest and
Mm,
sleeping when the sun is on the other side of the earth.
yeah.
So
Mm,
sleeping theoretic, on average, depending on where you are and what time of year it is,
mm,
between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. and eating between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And
yeah.
trying to if you keep those windows, and then are you familiar with the Essene Gospel of Peace?
Yes, yeah. The Jesus
Yeah,
sing of please.
yeah. Amazing text, and in there it states that if you eat between the time that the sun is at its highest to the sunset, you will never experience disease. If you only eat from the time the sun is at its highest to the sunset, you will
Mm.
never experience disease.
Did not know it was that quote. I know the principle. That I didn't know that was in that book. That what you just
Yeah,
said. That's interesting. Huh.
yeah.
Oh, I love that book for enemas too. I think it talks about enemas on that in that book, saying
Yeah,
put water up. Mm.
the Essenes, I love the Essene. Like, I consider myself an Essene at heart for sure.
Mm.
Um, because I mean, just all about the purity,
Mm.
and yeah, I heard that, even so, like the Essenes, they got the, like, people are like, oh, an enema, that's unnatural. But
Mm.
from what I heard is that the Essenes actually um watched or there was a bird, they called it the bird of purity,
Mm.
and it would travel to where the purest water was, wherever they were. They would migrate to wherever they found the purest, cleanest water sources. And then
Mm.
if they started to get sick, they
Mm.
would use their long beaks to suck up the water, and then
Mm.
they put it up their butt and give themselves an enema.
Mm. What animal did that? Sorry,
And
was it
it was a bird they called the bird of purity, that
bird
the
of purity? Mm.
Essenes observed
Mm.
to uh, and they created the enema based on their observation of nature.
Wow, that's powerful. Very much like the Taos watch the animals. So they're watching the animals and learning from them and thinking, what are they doing? So let's copy this up the bum action with water. They must have used clean water. I would assume.
Right. Well, that's what the bird of purity was doing. The bird of purity was only going to literally their whole tribe, their whole
Mm.
community of birds would migrate to wherever the water was cleanest. They, like, followed the clean water. That's why they were called. That's why the Essenes called them the bird of purity.
Yeah. I like that. That's powerful. So yeah, enemas definitely for me is an essential. I know people say, "Oh, don't use it, and it's going to weaken your thing." I've never experienced that, and I'm doing them with syringes every day, trying to be consistent with them. Bearing in mind, I'm limited in my use of aged urine and trying my best with it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people should do them, and even if they can only do it sporadically, it's better than nothing. So
Right.
even if you're doing it once a week, then it's cool. Just do what you can. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. We always got to do the best we can wherever we're at, for sure. And
exactly,
I've
bro.
been doing
Mm,
this stuff. I've shared bathrooms. I've been with all sorts of roommates.
mm,
And I mean, it's so powerful over the past years that I've been doing it. It's just, I make it happen. And I mean, I'm
mm,
like up before anybody else, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be sharing a bathroom with a roommate, up at like up 3 in the morning doing a urine enema before anybody's awake, being super quiet about it, having the bathroom all cleaned up without anybody knowing ever.
Yeah, that's powerful. Dedication.
Everything. I just would have like I would have the protocol of like, okay, this is how it's going to get done without anybody knowing. The smell would be taken care of. The bathroom would be clean. So when they go in there, it's like it's cleaner than the last time they used it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, determination. We've got to be careful of age, and I love the fact that you're conscious, and same with me, conscious of upsetting people and turning people away. Because ultimately, we don't want to turn people away, because these are the kind of people maybe in the future that might, even though if they're not, it's okay, but they might just turn towards it. And if the smell is something that is, yeah, it's the programming. So we've got to work within the basis of we don't want to upset people. By the way, it makes me feel bad if people smell it on me, and it has in the past, and I get hurt by that, because that can actually be more harmful. I thought about this before. I think it's more harmful for my health sometimes if I when I'm worrying, because I know it smells and I've my own fault. In that moment I'm around people and I put it on my skin too much, and that hurts my health more, ironically, than the medicine sometimes. I think that.
Yeah, I got called out. Actually, I got called out about a year ago because I was doing, I was doing urine enemas and then going off and doing hot yoga, and then actually one of the yoga instructors, she's like, hey, she kind of pulled me aside one day and she's like, you kind of smell when you come in here. It's a small studio, it's like. And I'm like, I felt so bad, because like here I am thinking I'm being like totally pure, you know what I mean? I'm doing all these things to be like a purist, and I just, and then so I just know now every time it's like, okay, I gotta rinse this off right away. I gotta shower right away,
Yeah.
And then put on essential oils before I go hit that yoga class.
Yeah, so what was it about? Was it sweating that made it happen? So what were you doing? Enemas and massaging, then going out for hot sweating?
Well, it was like I would wake up and then the first thing I would do, I'd meditate and then I'd do a urine enema and then I'd just like run out to a yoga class, and I wasn't rinsing off in between.
What do you mean, rinsing your bum or rinsing your body?
Just showering. Yeah, I wasn't showering.
Okay.
And so so it took one, I felt so embarrassed.
Yeah.
I realized I didn't realize I was putting off, off that smell.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So I just handle it. I make it. It's just now it's a priority. It's like, okay, I got to get it done, but then I gotta get in that shower, and it's good because then I just take a hot cold shower and get that cold therapy on me, and then even more benefit. You know what I mean? So it's all learning and growing, but it's like then now I'm good at this stuff. So it's like, okay, I can take care of all my this stuff without anybody knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful. By the way, while you're talking, I thought I wanted to talk about yoga, and now you just brought it up. Synchronicity. You just brought up yoga. So one thing I've added to my routine that I've been last year at some point I stopped doing yoga daily, and now I'm doing it not just daily, I'm doing it twice daily. And I wanted to see if twice daily was too much, because that's how I started off, doing it twice daily, and I'm finding it's not. And it's really powerful to do it once daily. My yoga set is very powerful, so it's the best yoga poses of 45 minutes that I learned from a book. Very powerful, and it's really transforming my consciousness doing it once daily. Now I do it twice daily. Holy shit, my whole my vibration is at a much higher level. And it's I'll tell you something, Matthew, as well. That it's more. I thought at the beginning it was about detox with yoga, and I don't feel like it is. I feel like I'm understanding now. It's way more than just, oh, I need to detox. It's like changing my vibration. It's rebalancing my brain hemispheres. It's making me more whole. I feel more centered inside my body. It's doing a lot more than just what I thought at the beginning was basics, physical stuff. I feel like it's doing. I can feel it viscerally doing so much more than just physical work. It's crazy.
Absolutely. It's an ancient. Yoga's ancient for a reason. Like the ancient yogis, that's a whole, like, many believe that Jesus was, like a yogi, and like it's an ancient, like they're yogis who, the ancient yogis that lived, thousands of years. And it's not just for detox. It helps with detox. Yeah, I mean, twisting and turning the internal organs, great for detox. But it does. There's so many benefits. Like we don't even know. I mean, when I go, and so like I've been doing it daily for years, and I do recommend to take classes because I find, I mean, I take different classes at different yoga studios with different instructors, and there's always poses that I either haven't done or haven't done in a long time or wouldn't have practiced just because it's a challenge. And then when you're in there, it's like you're in it, and you got to get through this now. And then when you come out on the other side and you're in Shavasana, like, and everything, and that's like the king of the yoga poses, and it's like everything is just there's forces going on that uncomprehendable to us, and what's going on in the body, what's going on in the mind all day, like they'll be like, oh, I don't have time, I got all this stuff. Let's say it's like I don't have time, I got all this stuff to do. What I find somehow is when I do yoga, like I'll get more done in less time. Like I'll be more efficient all day. I'll look at the end of my day. At the end of my day, I write out a to-do list every day. On the days I do yoga, just somehow I tackle way more than if I don't do yoga and I have that extra hour or sometimes 2 hours if I'm driving 30 minutes each way to a yoga studio. So it's like, I oftentimes sleep less. My willpower's up. I eat less. Which is really weird because you'd think, okay, I'm excurting all this energy, and so like you would think my body would be craving more food, but for some reason I don't. I don't know if it's the breath work. I don't know. And my theory too. I have another theory. I have more energy actually after doing yoga, but I did all these physical asanas. Why do I have more energy? And actually, the energy, I believe, is being channeled through, and by doing the physical asanas, we're actually opening up the channels for the energy to come in, because there's all the blockages. It's releasing the blockages in the hips or the neck or the spine, wherever the blockages are. They're being released during the asanas, so then the energy can flow the rest of the day, or for days, you get those blockages out of there, and then you need less sleep. In fact, a lot of David Wolf was actually talking about this. He said the ancient yogis would they believe you only need like 11 and a half minutes of sleep.
Whoa.
11
and a half minutes.
11 and a half minutes of sleep. Yep.
Wow. Don't think I'm at that level yet, mate. Not even close.
Oh, I've tried. I've tried to meditate instead of sleeping. For a while I've done all sorts of experiments with meditation and yoga and sleep, and trying to like master that, which it's still a work in progress. But I got to the point where I was like meditating for like 2 or 3 hours and sleeping for 2 or 3 hours, then meditating for another 2 or 3 hours. Right now I'm doing about an hour. I do about an hour at night and then an hour in the morning. So, but I sleep less, So I'll tell you, like, I'll go to bed at 9. When I say go to bed, I start meditating at 9. So I'm usually laying down around 10. I leave my phone inside, so I don't know exactly what time I'm laying down, but somewhere around 10, and then I'll wake up around 3, between 3 and 4, and then I'll meditate for another hour. So so I'm only sleeping 5 or 6 hours. I'm only sleeping like 6 hours.
Yeah.
But I'm meditating for 2. My mind is way more focused on my dreams. Are incredible. My dreams, I'll get insights in my dreams. I'll get downloads in my dreams. You know, sometimes I can see the future, or things get worked out. Just like, you know, there's a whole lot less randomness in what I'm experiencing.
Yeah, I feel like my dreams have gone up ever since I started wearing blue blocking glasses from sundown, committed to August, never stop. I don't take them off now till bed. My dreams have gone up, and my dreams. You know, one thing, Kombucha Clark, one dream I've had recently is kind of funny. Is I was sun gazing in my dreams. I didn't even know that was possible to do. Obviously, I thought, well, I guess in the dream you could do anything, but I just found it really funny because I'm writing a book on sun gazing. I'm obsessed with sun gazing. I did some sun gazing today. Whenever I can, I do it, and now I'm dreaming and sun gazing. So I guess we could all sun gaze even when we sleep. How crazy is that? We could, if we wanted to, we could just non-stop sun gaze. It's crazy.
Right. Actually, I did have a dream a few months back where I was literally calling it, and because it was like in my dream that the clouds came over the sun, and I was saying out loud, "I'm parting the clouds. I'm summoning the sun. I'm parting the clouds. I'm summoning the sun," and the clouds parted, and I realized that that's not just a thing you can do in a dream. That's something we can do. We can call the sun. We can call the clouds. Rain dancing isn't some woo-hoo bogus thing, you know? This, like, we create this reality. What they're telling us is bogus. Whoever they
On that
are,
note,
that's telling us, that's trying to convince us that everything is random, and that you know, we control the reality.
Right. On that note, what do you think of? I love your opinion of coronavirus, which I call Coriolanus. What's your opinion on this thing?
I don't focus on it. I focus on health.
I like that.
6th of January 2013. I focus on health, and I mean, I think the worst thing you can do is be scared. Like fear is like praying for what you don't want. And you know, this gets me to the media. Whoever controls the media controls reality. I mean, have you read 1984?
No, I know it's a good book though, and it's predicted the truth.
Amazing book. I would definitely recommend it. And basically, George Orwell wrote it way before 1984. In the book, 1984 is the future. And he predicted, you know, and then the big premise behind the book is who controls the media controls reality. And so when you think about that, who controls the collective unconscious controls reality, which is the media, which is, I'm not gonna start naming things or we'll get this video banned. We'll get this thing pulled off so quickly, but let's say the weather person says it's gonna be raining or sunny, or what is the collective unconscious thinking? Whatever that person said. And then what creates our reality, what creates our collective consciousness reality. Now what most people are expecting becomes our reality. So if you know, if everyone is, you know, scared of some outbreak or whatever, then that's exactly what's going to happen.
And it's putting in fear that's a low frequency that's going to, if you've got fear inside you, that's fucking up your health anyway. So that's affecting your health vibration, your actual aura, your whatever you want to call it. There's loads of things going on. When you put fear inside the vessel, you are really screwing with your health in a way that shouldn't be there. And then therefore, actually, the virus has more inclination to take hold in an environment because now you put fear inside you, which is fucking up your health a little bit. So now you're more susceptible to the virus in itself, like you just said. You're more susceptible to it because of the fear. The fear is like the seed that weakens the ones that are weak, and that puts you in the mode to accept the virus and to get ill and die.
Right. Crazy. Right. Okay. And so now that we got that portion out of the way, the mindset, okay, it's health. Let's talk about strengthening the immune system.
Come on, then.
Because there are things that we can do besides our thoughts that can strengthen the immune system. And probiotics, you get, you know, we're more bacteria than we are cells. We have more bacteria in our gut alone, all over our skin, in every organ and gland of our body. bacteria runs the show. We are, basically we are like the sum total, like our being is a sum total of trillions and trillions of little small living bacteria, and that's how we show up.
Yeah.
And so we want to mitigate that because we live in a parasitic world where parasites have pretty much taken over. Parasites have taken over every corrupt government organization. They've taken over, the media. They've taken over everything. And so we have to mitigate that in our own bodies because the if we don't, we're giving our power away. So my best line of defense against that I found so far is lots and lots of probiotics. I've come to the point of growing probiotics.
Nice. What kind of probiotics are you growing? Plants, plant medicine, or?
Well, I make. You can actually take capsules. You can take like a capsule. Let's say it has, 10 different strains in it and 50 billion, 50 billion count of probiotics. You can take that one capsule and put it into a mason jar and add distilled water and sugar to it, and it will grow, and those strains will eat the sugar, multiply, the sugar will be completely be gone, and then you'll have trillions. Those billions will turn into trillions of probiotics. So one sip of that is like taking taking a capsule. The pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know about this. Even the probiotic companies obviously don't want you to know about this, because then they would only ever sell you one bottle of probiotics ever.
How do you make that again? How do you make this?
All you got to do is you just take water. We could actually make a separate video on this sometime. And
we should. Yes. Good idea.
Because you can just take water. You can literally the easiest way is just to take water and sugar, a little bit of sea salt or Himalayan pink salt is good too. You just take here's the recipe: half gallon mason jar, and a half gallon of water. Add one capsule. Just open one capsule of probiotics. They have to be a living probiotic. So do your research, find ones that are top quality living probiotics, and then add a half a cup of sugar. Make a little bit of sea salt. Shake it up. Leave it on the counter for 3 days to a week.
Right.
Until all that sugar's eaten. All that sugar's eaten, and when you taste it, it's going to be sour.
That's interesting. So what you're saying is that they multiply, they proliferate massively from what was in there because the sugar's given the food.
They eat the sugar. Sugar feeds all microbes. That's why cancer patients they take them off sugar because they eat because the sugar feeds all microbes can live off of sugar, can multiply off of sugar. But the difference is if you eat sugar and into your body, now anything that's in your body, the good guys, the bad guys, they're all going to be going after that sugar. They're all going to be multiplying. The candida, the parasites, as well as the good guys. Okay, but if you do it in a mason jar like that, basically it's a petri dish. It's a science experiment. So you literally only have the strains. You only have those strains.
Yeah.
So I have ones now that have hundreds of probiotic strains. So all sorts of different probiotics. I mix them all together, and they're all multiplying. Some of the drinks I have.
How do you know? I believe you. What you're saying. How do you know that they're multiplying? Does the sugar go away? Does the sugar taste?
Disappears. The sugar. There's no. You shake it up. You look in the jar. There's no sugar in the jar. You taste it. It's not sweet at all. It's sour.
Right.
It's sour. It's like.
Oh.
But it's euphoric. It's one sip, my whole body's like, just like.
This is fascinating information. I think we need to make a separate video on this, and to reiterate the point, I'd love this to be a profound healing. Even if we don't worry about coronavirus, we shouldn't worry about that stuff. But you're right, this should be a powerful protocol for everyone to do. Like you're saying, it would make the medicine which you're already buying, but you can buy quality ones, and then you can just make it so much more powerful.
This is suppressed knowledge. This is nobody's doing. Like, this is again another thing that nobody I know is doing it. Like there's like couple people online that I found that I got ideas from, and I've stemmed off their ideas. I've mixed a whole bunch of different ideas together, and now, so that's the basic. And then of course, you know me, I have to always take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So now, okay, well that's great to put distilled water in there, but now what if I put in herbal tea? What if I stack in 10 wild crafted herbs into a tea and then I ferment it? What if I take wild mushrooms from the Shawgan Canadian forest, make a tea out of that, and ferment it? Add chlorella, the best chlorella in the world. Add all this stuff together and ferment.
Again, are you fermenting these with sugar? That's how how you ferment the teas, with sugar, and then just. I didn't know this. Is amazing.
And then instead of having obviously one capsule of probiotic, why don't I have all these? So I have these drinks with like 10 or 20 different herbs and like hundreds of strains of probiotics. So like one sip of this, if you had one sip of this a day, you probably wouldn't get sick. And I mean, I drink this stuff down like water.
How does it feel? I mean, do you notice, it's like age and it slows the breath down. Do you feel like there's a shift in consciousness? Do you feel something going on there?
100%. After I do a urine enema and then drink one of these drinks, and I'm high like all day. And sometimes they'll get a little alcohol-y too, because when you ferment, it gets they get so strong. Some of them are so strong that it gets alcohol-y. So like I'm drinking this stuff, and I don't drink alcohol. Like I don't, but this it's medicine, and it's like it's euphoric. It's like I can't even explain what. I don't even know everything it's doing in my body. And what I found, and then so when I started drinking these years ago, when I started making these years ago, that's when I started really seeing the parasites come out. So people are on all these parasite herbs, and before I even got on this, I got one of my colon hydrotherapists after colonic recommended that I do a parasite cleanse like several years ago. And I did, an herbal parasite cleanse with like wormwood, black walnut hull, a whole bunch of mix of, the traditional parasite herbs. I did it for like 2 months, but I wasn't educated on probiotics at the time. And afterwards, I detoxed a bunch. I went hardcore. I did no sugar. I was intermittent fasting with it. I did everything I knew at the time to get these parasites out. And then afterwards, I'm like, why don't I feel as good as I did before I started this? That was the question. It was like, why don't I'm like, I have less energy, I just didn't feel an overall sense of well-being that I did before. And then that's when I got educated. Thank God I was in a holistic nutrition class, and one of my teachers, she said every long-lasting, we're studying different diets, like the Mediterranean diet and the Japanese diet and all these different diets. We're going through them, and she said every long-lasting diet, every diet that's been long-lasting has had fermented foods in it, except for the American diet.
Fascinating. Yeah, every diet that lives longer.
That caught my attention. I'm like, and at the time, I was already a raw foodist. I was going to the farmers markets. I was eating all fresh. I was all about fresh. Got to get the fruit that was picked this morning, the vegetables that were picked this morning. Come home, make a green smoothie out of that, make a salad out of that. That's all I was eating, was just fresh fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, And then I was like, why would I eat fermented cabbage when I could eat fresh cabbage that was picked this morning? I know the farmer. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's something to this. And then I made, I started making sauerkraut.
Right.
And I was like, after just like one, I made myself a jar of sauerkraut, and I'm like, I fermented it maybe for a week, and then I'm like, just an experiment, and then I ate it, and first bite, my body's like, oh, what is that? I want more. And then I kept eating. Yeah. I kept just putting, and this was just a while. I wasn't putting probiotic capsules in it. I was just doing standard sauerkraut. You put salt and water and cabbage, weigh it down under some water, put it on the counter for a week, and then it was just like, but my body was like, this is the best thing ever. And I went through like the whole jar in like 2 days. And I'm like, okay, I need to make more of that. So that's where it started. And then I started making kombucha. And then I was like, and then I started to learn about the microbiome. And like I was saying, like when I learned that there's more microbes than cells, I'm like, wait a sec. This could be more important than stem cell therapy. This could be more important. I'm like, mitigating my microbiome is more, because everyone's talking about cellular health. I'm like, this could be more important. And so I wrote the intention. An affirmation that I wrote was, I am a host for the best flora ever. I am a host for the best flora ever. Probably one of the greatest, it was probably one of the greatest affirmations I've ever made, because it sent me down a rabbit hole. The universe just moved for me. And I was just like, I was like, and every video I watched, people were just making the same damn sauerkraut, every YouTube video, books I was like getting books on fermentation, and everyone's making the same stuff. And I mean, it's good, it's okay, but I was like, where's, is this it? And I just kept digging and digging and digging. And then like one, and then I found people were making coconut cream, not coconut, what is it called? Cultured coconut yogurt. Then I got on the cultured coconut yogurt, and I started putting probiotics into like blending coconut meat and water, buying Thai young coconuts at the Asian market, and blending the coconut with the water. And then there was like one video, one person was like, oh, by the way, you could just use some of the last batch from your last coconut. You don't have to actually put new capsules in. I'm like, what? I'm like, you mean I don't have to keep spending $100 on a bottle of probiotics every month? I was like, this is. Then things took off. Then I got into. Then I found somebody else who was making the probiotic kefir drinks, and then once I learned that, once I learned the drinks, like I just took off with it. I took everything, all the little gold nuggets that I learned from all these people, and I just started putting them all together. And these drinks and I keep improving them, and with the ingredients that I use and everything. And now it's like I have this whole cupboard. I have a whole. I can show you. I have a whole cupboard.
Yeah, sure.
Let's flip this camera around. Figure that out.
Sure.
Let's see. How do you? Oh, I gotta probably do this.
You can't see anything visually. I can hear you. Oh, there we go. Now we can.
Yeah, there we go. Flipping it around there. Okay, so I got the distiller going there, obviously.
Sweet. Yeah.
And then all of these are full of water, full of kefir.
Nice. What do you say? What kefir? Like fermented herbs, or?
So like this one, for instance, right here. Shaga reishi is the base. I got the crock pot. It's going over here with the Shaga reishi mushrooms, wild from the Canadian forest. I put cacao in there, and some of the best chlorella in the world, clean chlorella from the Health Ranger, and sugar. And then that is probably one of my favorites, euphoric drink. I got this one right here. For instance, this one has all sorts of adaptogenic herbs. I made it into a sun tea. Hey, I have to. You want to pause the video for a sec? I have to go use the restroom.
Oh, sure, yeah.